we have a short week, Colin.
Yes.
We have a short week. We have a past week and a this week to talk about. I'm pretty excited. You mentioned it. I'm chomping at the bit to talk about it, and it's like the elephant in the room. Man, tell me about that decision to go for 2 by Mr. Harbaugh.
Can I cop out? Can I have you tell me first?
Yeah, you can. You can.
Okay. You go, I'm chomping at the bit, but I don't want to talk. That doesn't work that way.
Oh, my heavens.
You tell me.
Oh, my heavens. The more you get to know me, the more of a pain you become. So, okay. Yes, chomping at the bit. Now, mine is the obvious. You probably are going to come back strategically, and you're going to probably disagree. I think it was the worst decision I've ever seen a head coach make. I think that a head coach put himself in a position to lose that game instead of giving him a chance 50-50. And, regardless, first of all, his quarterback had a terrible night already. So what are you basing this on? Analytics? Because Mike Tomlin seemed to allude to the fact that it was analytics that made the choice. And he kind of gave it a little smash there too. So I'm with Mike. Sometimes you can't feel the analytics, can't feel the energy on the field, and it can't really be a predictor. I think it was horrible. I think that that coach personally lost that game for them. So your turn.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Oh, that's a surprise.
No, here's why. Okay, you have, if you're Baltimore, maybe already the best kicker in the history of the game at your disposal.
Absolutely.
In Justin Tucker. You have 2 things for the Pittsburgh Steelers not working for you. The kicking game, Boswell had missed an extra point and his kickoff had gone out of bounds. The punter had already not had a good day. He had a 32-yard punt or 28-yard punt. He had a shank and wasn't kicking the ball well.
Yep.
If you go to overtime, you just kick the extra point, you go to overtime. So often in NFL overtimes, it turns into a kicking contest. You seem to have the special teams advantage. On top of that, one of his factors was, our cornerback situation, Harbaugh I'm talking about, our cornerback situation was very thin. I didn't know what I could do to stop them. Well, that's great and all. But did he not just watch his offense go 60 yards down the field in 1:48, but they don't have to go 60 that next time. They just need to go 40 and kick a field goal, or 30-some and kick a field goal. I thought he put his team in an awful situation. And then if you're going to go for it, and I think it was a terrible situation, but I'll concede that he wanted to go for it. Okay. The second layer to it is if you're convinced you have to go for it, have your quarterback use his legs and not his arm to try to win.
Because that's his strength. That's his strength. The play, not only that, I agree with you. The decision to go for 2 was bad in itself, and the play call was even worse.
Yes. If you just landed in a spaceship, but you knew about football, or somebody just plopped you down and said, here's the end game decision, and this man's supposed to be a great football coach, I would say, where?
Where? Show me.
How?
If you base it on this game, I would completely disagree with it. And I think I might have told you last week, I do not like Lamar Jackson. I don't like him. I just don't. I don't think.
Well, I said this. I tweeted this and said this to some people. If it was a tag your it competition, he might be the world champion and no one could beat him. But in terms of being an NFL quarterback, I'm not so sure he's going to be a great one simply because he doesn't possess an arm to match with his legs. He is uncatchable. You can't touch him. You can't get your hands near him. He is maybe the most elusive player that's ever played the quarterback position already. Already, he may have proven that in NFL history. But
dodgeball.
If it was flat,
he's great at dodgeball.
If it was flag football, forget it. But he doesn't have the arm to match that skill set that can be an accompanying piece to that.
Yeah, so. I agree with that 100%. So then go back to the Steelers' performance also.
Yes.
I think it's really interesting to see all of the Ben Roethlisberger lovers again. He came back, did a masterful job in the fourth quarter. He really did. But there were 3 quarters in front of it that weren't masterful. And I think that, first of all, I think our specialty players, Deontay's just fabulous. I think Claypool was fabulous. And on that note, I love when somebody asked Mike Tomlin, what are you going to do? How do you practice? He said, well, we're just going to go back and we're going to practice without the music.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Now, to get back to Ben for a second, noted, I think we could take a page from noted Ford truck man Toby Keith, right, as we've done in the past. This is what I have been telling you all season. What did Toby Keith say famously? I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. That's Ben. We're never going to get 6 games in a row out of Ben where he's great, but he's that guy that'll wake up and give you that one punch for one day, and you go, oh, is he back? No, but he's able to give you that one performance that keeps you thinking and reels you back in.
Reels you back in to make you think he is back.
Yes.
But he's not. And I agree with that. That's perfect. I actually thought you plagiarized that line. But,
no, I
you
gave
it its adequate footnote. I did not realize that. Yeah,
yes.
That's pretty good. I thought that was, that's pretty good. I might write that down actually because I like it. But but what do you think going into this week? It's a short week. Does it matter?
I think that there's something that's really, really important that hinges on me picking the Steelers, thinking the Steelers are going to win or not. And it is, Richard, why do the Steelers wait for it to be a necessity to run the no huddle? Why not be proactive with the no huddle? That has irked me for years. It is really, I think, shown through in this season with Ben Roethlisberger. That's not to say throw the football a bunch. They run the football out of the no huddle. I think going into this week, if they can allow Ben to have a little bit more leeway at the scrimmage line and just run the no huddle from the outset, they can have a lot of success. If they go into the huddle and take it slow, then have to play catch up, they're not going to play well.
They're not going to play well. It's the tempo. Have you ever asked Mike Tomlin that question?
Yep, people have. People have asked.
Have you personally ever asked?
No, I haven't. But a million people have asked, and what they say is, well, it's the feel of the game. It's Ben and being comfortable, and essentially you could punch yourself out. This is a Minnesota team in a Minnesota building that is very loud, but they are seething right now, and they want the coach fired. Okay? There's no – after the loss to Detroit. They are as mad as – and he's probably a dead man walking. But if the Steelers can score first in this game, that crowd will turn on their home team like you've never seen before. And you can eradicate and take out any factor that they have. It's so important to score first in this game.
Well, I agree with that. We've talked about, and I've heard talk about the fact that, these teams have visited and played each other, 3 times or something. And, and I don't think that matters. I don't think any of that matters because it's not the same 53 players this year that it was last year or the year before. So it doesn't really have anything to do with that for me. I think the Steelers also come off with some real authority and some real energy coming off of what they just did. I mean, honestly, I see and I look for those emotional cues. And I looked at Ben, and Ben, I'm going to tell you, you could tell Ben was just so happy. And I listened to Mike's press conference, and I just don't know how it could turn from here. I think that, you had TJ Watt, undoubtedly the finest defensive player in the league, in my opinion. He's like a machine. And like Mike Tomlin said last year, TJ Watt, yeah, he's from another planet. And he is. And so that goes back to reinforcing the pay him 110 million or 15 million. So he's playing lights out. Imagine where he would be if he didn't miss 2 games.
Oh, right? Yeah.
I mean, and I think he was defensive player of the week.
He was. And he should have been. There was nobody that even can rival him at this point. Now, a thought for you, do you think with the Ben Roethlisberger talk, and maybe these are his last 2 home games now, that situation, is he the type of guy, because we've knocked this around a little bit, I think, as a football-watching populace here in Pittsburgh. Does he thrive off of that spotlight being on him and the focus being on him and him being that guy, perhaps the last couple home games that everybody look at me because this is the end of a legend? Or is it just coincidence that story kind of got out?
I don't think it's coincidence. I think nothing is coincidence. I think that Ben has a self-imposed um, legacy he wants to leave, and I think that that's what this is about. I think he wanted to make sure that everybody knew you can shut up now because this is my plan. I will tell you what it is. You don't have to guess. This is my plan, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to kick some ass. And I think that's what he did. I really do. It wasn't a coincidence, in my opinion. What do you think?
I don't know if the reporters got it from Ben or from his camp or something, but I do believe that he has told people that this is it. This is the end of the ride. And then it got to the reporters. I kind of find it tough that he'd be so vain to call a reporter and say, get this out there so everybody cheers for me.
No, but he and Marquise are still very close.
Right.
I think he's telling people, and I think that I don't think it was coincidence the timing. I don't think it was coincidence. I also don't think it was contrived. I just think it was thought out, and I think Ben is really wanting to take over. He wants to finish on an upbeat, and he will because he can be that guy, like you said. He can't be that guy for maybe more than a game, but certainly no more than 6 games.
I got one more question for you. Now, this one involves a little thinking. So, and you're the analytical sort, so you'll think about this answer, and I mean that. I'm not joking around a lot. And you've dealt with it in your field more than any, probably, in what you do, organized labor in our country, right? I mean, it's gigantic in the automobile field. So that being said, every time there's a Thursday night game, Richard, you have players that say, "Man, this stinks for our health. This is awful. It's too quick of a turnaround. Our health and our safety is at risk." But when it comes time to have a collective bargaining agreement and they sit down at the table, nobody says, wait a minute, we're not signing it, because they understand the riches that are had from those contracts. So I find it a little odd that they complain about it when they're about to play the game, but the money's so good that they continue to just do it. Like, it falls on deaf ears for me. I understand their concerns, but then why not negotiate it when it's time to negotiate a contract?
I have a lot of collective bargaining agreement questions. That's one. I really disagreed with the 17 game season, to be honest with you.
You want it to stay at 16?
I did. Yeah, I did. And I thought that was fair. I mean, it's purely money motivated,
Yeah.
100%. And I think, trying to do that and integrate with, having international games. And if you remember, just a year ago, we were talking about the NFL ratings dropping. Well, obviously, we knew that wasn't going to be the case.
Right.
So, I mean, we knew that once all this craziness, we got through it. The NFL is such a powerful brand, and I believe in it. I'm not sure that the 17 game season was in everybody's best interest. No idea how they got that passed. I also understand what you say about the complaining about short season, injuries. I get it. Short week, but I don't really care. I mean, that doesn't bother me because it's still a highlight. It's still a big deal to be playing on Thursday night football. It's a big deal.
Yeah, and if you don't like it, tell them at the time of the bargaining, and then when you're signing the contract, we're not playing if we're playing those Thursday night games. Wait till there's 18 games, because that's happening in the next couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, you play your Thursday night game. Now you're off for the weekend.
Right.
So you get to soothe your wounds. You get a longer time to get everybody healthy. So there's a give and there's a take. But the bottom line is exactly what you said. If it's so bothersome to you and you think this outweighs the short week, outweighs the dollars, then don't sign the agreement.
Wow. I think you just found yourself a job in 2029. Roger Goodell is going to say, the gentleman from Pittsburgh, Richard Bazzy, will be our intermediary as we negotiate the next
I'm also
contract.
I'm also a Roger Goodell fan.
I am too. You know why? There's been
wonderful things
labor
for the league.
peace for 2.5 decades.
Yeah.
And they do nothing but keep growing.
They do nothing but keep growing. I think he's great for the brand. I think they pay him 40 something million a year to do that. But look what he's been able to negotiate through the CBA, through the television, and it's been wonderful for him. So I like him. I do like him. I really like the Steelers tonight or tomorrow night. Well, by the way, we're recording this on Wednesday, right?
Yes.
And this will air. We will release this tomorrow.
Thursday, yeah.
Thursday. So
in the battle of the two teams that could not beat the Detroit Lions, Your official.
Oh, interesting.
That's what it is.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Which is wild to think. Your official prediction is the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win this football game.
I do think that. Remember last week I said that I thought we were going to get our butts kicked, but there was a caveat to that, and the caveat, I always leave myself an out. But the caveat was if they don't do something different, and they did do something different. They played hard, and that's what's been missing. And I don't know why.
I believe I picked the Steelers like 2017 last week or something like that, and I was on it.
Kudos to you. You did.
Yeah. For this week's game, I actually think the Steelers are going to go out there and win. I think they're going to go. They're going to they're going to play expeditiously on offense. They're not going to huddle. They haven't here. This is a backhanded compliment. They won't have enough practice time to screw it up this week. They're just going to go in with the same game plan because they only have 1 day of practice. And so I think they're just going to carry the same game plan in. They're going to allow Ben to operate at the scrimmage line, and they're going to do that. And I think the Steelers are going to win 24 to 20. That's what I think.
Okay, that's good prediction. I like that. I'm not going to give a score. I don't give scores because I'm usually wrong. But I do say Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday Night Football, and then we'll take the nice weekend off and come back the following week.
Take a nice deep breath. All right. It's been great. It's been wonderful, and we will chat next week.
We're out.